Bum, bum,
bum,
ba-da-da, bum, bum. Wow, we come in with the lasers too. Like right from the start, we're getting the lasers. That's what kind of Friday it is. Welcome to the Blue Review presented by LAX. I'm Marcus Grant, joined by Greg Bergman and Parker Bell. And on a Friday, Matthew Moreno. Thanks, Matt, for getting up with us this early. How you feeling this Friday?
Yeah, I'm a little tired from last night, late night, getting everything done. But hey, the Dodgers won. Kershaw's making his final regular season start of the season at home tonight. So if that's not enough to fuel you on adrenaline, then I don't know what is.
Exactly. So much going on. Matthew hit it on the head. We'll get into last night's game, but more importantly, we will get into the big Dodger news that was announced yesterday. I imagine that'll be the bulk of the show today. But first, before we get into any of that, I want to give a shout out to LAX, as always, our friends over there at Los Angeles International Airport, transforming the travel experience, saving guest time, where we are excited about the People Mover train, which hopefully is up and running early next year. If you want more information, go to the interwebs at flylax.com/transforminglax. Yes, the Dodgers did get a 2-1 win over the Giants. They hung on in the end, the bullpen doing its job and getting those final outs. Combine that with the Padres losing to the Mets earlier in the day, and the Dodgers have stretched their lead all the way to 3 games. Greg, I'm telling you, last night, if the Dodgers had somehow lost, I was prepared to start texting you Squid Game memes. I was ready to do it.
I was actually waiting for them. When it was getting close, I was like, "That's 2-1. My God, they're going to walk in 2 runs and completely blow it." And Marcus is going to go even heavier on his Squid Game.
I literally was going to just send you like a person in a pink jumpsuit or something. It was going to happen. Thankfully, though, the law firm of Dreyer, Kopech, Trinan, Banda, and Vesio were able to get it done. Maybe not so much on the Kopech part.
Or the Trinan part.
Or the Trinan part. He got out of it. I mean, I will say this. Trinan probably got squeezed on a couple of pitches there. So, he walked in the run, but he did get out of it without any further damage. And then Banda and Vesio were lights out the rest of the way. So...
those two were real fast. Trinan, okay, are we really, Matt, you were there, right?
Blake was there.
No, Blake was there. Okay, but either way, squeezed, yes, like that the edges were hitting the strike zone. But when you're wild and you're not hitting, when you're throwing balls over and over again, they're not going to give you that little sliver of the line that you happen to hit. I mean, there was a couple that were kind of in there, but for the most part, he was too wild to get any of those calls.
I mean, probably, but also the umpire was, I'll say, inconsistent. All night,
all of them.
So I mean, I think that whether Trinan could have been maybe not as wild as he was, and he probably still was not going to get those calls anyway. So to Marcus's point, back-to-back strikeouts to get out of trouble. I think, Greg, that's just what you need to accept and be happy about at this point in the season.
Happy. None of this is making me say, "Oh, when Trinan comes in, I'm going to feel really good." Nah.
I will say Michael Kopech, when he left the mound yesterday, had the look of a man who knows he just pitched himself off the playoff roster. He walks the first couple, has to battle with Drew Gilbert, and finally gets him to chase and strikes him out, at which point, I mean, after the first walk, they cut to Mark Pryor, and he's immediately on the phone. Like, okay, we just need you to get through 3 hitters, man. just survive long enough to get through 3 hitters. Parker, that was one of the weirder games I've ever seen, in that the Giants only had 1 hit. They scored 1 run, which didn't come on a hit, by the way. Mm-hmm. 10 walks, 14 strikeouts for the Dodger pitching staff. I don't know if was this a well-pitched game? Was this a not well? I don't know how to classify a game like I saw last night.
It ended up being a well-pitched game in the end for Yamamoto, at least, even though he did reach his career high in walks. He was great. I think that it was just another Yamamoto game, which we are now classifying as just weird. He's either not getting run supports, and he's either pitching a no-hitter and still losing, breaking records. I think what was Cease last year was like the only guy since the 1930s plus Yamamoto to do that feat of 3 consecutive games. And he only allowed 3 hits in all those games. And it's just weird. The Dodgers are in a weird space, but they're winning, and that's all that matters right now. The offense, when the time comes and when they need it, they at least get the runs. I mean, even Greg, we were talking about Wart Vet before the show, making things happen at certain times. So everybody across the board is helping this team win, and you're still seeing that energy and that excitement. So I think that right now, the space that the Dodgers are in is a really good space, despite a couple weird games here and there.
Yeah, just weirdness. Joe Davis pointed out that in the 7th inning, when the Giants scored their run, the ball was never put in play.
Yeah.
4 walks, 3 strikeouts. That was the. I mean, the Dodgers could have just run out there with a pitcher and Ben Rortvedt, and it would have been the same outcome because the ball was never put in play. Anyway, the win, it's great. They're 3 games up on the Padres with 9 games left to play. The magic number is down to 6 at this point, so that is all good. Let's get to the news of the day, though. It hit in the afternoon. It spread like wildfire once it was announced that this is the final season for Clayton Kershaw after 18 glorious major league seasons, all with the Los Angeles Dodgers. He is hanging them up at the end of this year. Tonight, against the San Francisco Giants, will be his final regular season home start. In case you somehow weren't excited enough about a late season rivalry game as you're trying to close out a division title on a Friday. Greg, you texted it to me, and my response was, "I'm not emotionally ready." Have you prepared yourself for what is to come tonight at Dodger Stadium?
Oh, tonight at Dodger Stadium is going to be insane, and it's going to be if you haven't gotten tickets, you're probably not going to get it.
It's
unless
too late.
You're spending thousands of dollars. Depends what if this is a playoff type thing. His last start at home in the regular season, and it possibly, who knows, it may be his last start ever. He's going to pitch in the postseason most likely, but this may be his last ever start. Actually, he'll get another one.
He'll probably get one in maybe
he'll
Seattle.
Get one more. Yeah, he'll get one in maybe Seattle, Arizona. Okay, well, so not last ever start, but either way, his career is just something that you don't see very often. Almost 20 years with the same organization, and just every single time he went to the mound for most of his career, you're like, the Dodgers are winning this game. He was the stopper for his entire career as a Dodger. Kershaw Day is something that will live on forever, and it's never going to be repeated in the same type of way. He changed this organization in so many ways. Loved everything about him. I wish he would have had more success, but the success that he had is not to be understated. So first ballot Hall of Famer. I know he's not going to be unanimous because some stupid writer will not let him be unanimous, but he absolutely should be. This is the best pitcher of my generation that I've seen as a Dodger, and he's one of my favorite Dodgers in the history of the Dodgers.
Well, I mean, now that Mariano Rivera has broken the seal on being a unanimous Hall of Famer, maybe there's room for it. I don't know, but
hope so.
Matthew, were you surprised that he announced it when and how he did? I know he's kind of gone season to season and let us know. Were you surprised to hear the announcement when it came?
Yes and no. I mean, at first I was, just because he's been making his decisions, as he mentioned, during his press conference every offseason. He would get through the season, get through the playoffs, and then evaluate how is he feeling, what's the future look like, and so on and so forth. So it was surprising from the standpoint of he deviated from that. But I think it also then on the other side of the coin, it falls under, kind of what we've seen, sort of an evolution of Kershaw, if you will, this year specifically, last year a little bit, where I don't want to say he's changed, but he's softened. He hasn't been as rigid with everything. And I think, age and experiences, kind of and certainly in his case, children and all that stuff, change you type thing. And he did say, Ellen, that they had a conversation about it. And I think he realized what this moment is going to mean to fans. And as Greg said, it could be his last time definitely starting at Dodger Stadium, potentially even pitching at Dodger Stadium. We don't know, the Dodgers, for all intents and purposes, are going to start in the wild card series. Kershaw, assuming things hold as they are now, he's not going to be one of their starting pitchers in that best of 3 games. I'm not sure if he's going to be on the roster, and it's not a should he be on the playoff roster, should he not be on the roster argument. It's more of just for the 3 games is such a weird thing that it wouldn't fully shock me if they potentially hold him, saying we're obviously planning on getting to the NLDS and we'll activate you then. So I think some of that uncertainty played into what we got yesterday, and I'm glad above all else that it came from the Dodgers, from Kershaw, and not nothing against Jeff Passan, Ken Rosenthal, all those guys, but it's nice when these types of situations can be controlled, if you will, by the player involved.
No, I definitely agree with that. Yeah, I think it would have been, I think, less impactful if it was like sources report Clayton Kershaw to retire at the end of the season, as opposed to it coming from the man himself. And I thought it was interesting to the way you talked about his future in the short term on this roster, because I got a little bit of that from him listening to the press conference when at one point he was talking about, we got a lot of good pitching on this team. Like, we still have a month to play. We got a lot of good pitchers, and it was sort of him saying, I definitely want to be a part of this, but I understand at this point in my career sort of where I am. Like, it was just kind of, I think, a implicit acceptance of, I'm no longer the anchor of this staff. I'm going out here and I'm contributing as best I can, but he really understands that this is a staff built around the Yamamotos, Glasnow, Snells, what have you. I don't think he'd ever come out and just say it out loud, but I do think that was kind of the closest he's going to get to sort of admitting that. Parker, when we saw it all in the text chain yesterday, your reaction I thought was fitting. You're like, I didn't grow up as a Dodger fan, but Kershaw is the GOAT. I would think that for a lot of people, especially in Southern California, even if you're not a Dodger fan, this does have a meaning, because he has been one of the big sports figures in this town for 2 decades, for the life of a lot of people in Southern California now.
It was exactly that. I mean, you look at the 3-headed monster, really, of Scherzer, Verlander, Kershaw, for especially people of my age at 28, and that's all we had, essentially. Kershaw just was my guy. It was very hard to like, as a Southern California guy, Verlander and Scherzer. And I mean, I had a family member on that 2013 Dodgers squad when he won his, I think, second Cy Young at that time, and I had a chance to get a ball signed, and all I cared about was Kershaw. And it was just, it was an emotional moment. I'm not ready, but I'm so happy that they're giving him a weekend, really, of this. I mean, you're not taking away from really trying to focus in on the playoffs, but you get to have a bobblehead night Saturday. You also get to have his address to the fans on Sunday. So it's going to be like an emotional weekend, and giving everybody a chance who loves Kershaw to really like process all this before they get into the playoffs and focus and lock in. Because once that comes, it's like, sorry, Kershaw, we love you, but we're focused on winning the World Series, But for me, it really means a lot that he got to have that moment himself. I mean, yeah, he's my GOAT, always will be. And that's, as a non-Dodgers fan, I mean, that's a lot. That means a lot.
Yeah, I imagine it's going to be a really emotional time over the weekend, over the next few days out there at Dodger Stadium. I mean, look, it's kind of been Kershaw year in a sense that, before this, it was the march to 3,000 strikeouts, and it finally got there. He had that stretch in the middle of the season. Was it August, where he was just fantastic, right? I mean, it didn't look like the old Kershaw, right? Because the fastball is not hitting the way it used to. The curveball is still there, but he just was knowing how to get outs and win games. I mean, this has been I think for me is as memorable as any Kershaw season, just because of maybe the way it has happened this year.
Yeah, so I don't think can be understated that without Kershaw this year, this team is not in the position they're in right now. Without Kershaw going out there every fifth, sixth day, they are not in first place. They are maybe not even in the playoff race right now. He absolutely helped carry them through moments of times when the pitching staff was bad or was injured, and you had to pitch different guys that should not have been starting pitchers. So without Kershaw, this season would have been kind of lost a little bit. He went out there every single time and just did his thing and got outs. It wasn't about the velocity. For a guy that's throwing like 82 miles an hour, I know that's a little low, but he's like 88, 89 miles an hour. Like, he consistently got guys out. That whole march to 3,000 was amazing to watch. It's just, this guy is, throughout his career, was always that guy. The stopper, like I said before. He was, when you needed a win, you put Clayton Kershaw on the mound. So I just appreciate so much of what he did, and especially this year, because Without him, this is totally different. And one last thing before you get back to Matt on this, Los Angeles is very, very lucky for what they've had. I was talking about to Carlos Saisu about this. Kobe was here for 20 years. Kershaw was here for, 18 years. Kopitar is here for the amount of time that he is, and he's retiring also at the end of the year for the Kings. We're very lucky to have the guys that we have here in Los Angeles, and Kershaw is right there at the top with all of them.
Yeah, he's for sure, cemented his place on the Mount Rushmore of LA athletes for sure. Is it too much to say, Matt? I mean, last year, right before the World Series, we had the passing of Fernando Valenzuela, and that kind of became a rallying point, I think, for the team and the fans to get through the World Series. Obviously, this is not, as sad or anything like that, but is this potentially another rallying point? It's like, hey, let's see if we can do this for Kersh and get back and win another World Series.
I think a little bit, but also, Muncy was asked about that yesterday in the clubhouse, and he said potential, he basically said yes, but also we are already, very motivated to win a World Series. And I think some of that is, one, being the Dodgers, and two, being the team that they went into this season with. It was very clear after the offseason what they did, and it was celebrated. And I know it hasn't panned out that way so far, but it was obvious that it was basically going to be World Series or bust again for the Dodgers. So I think it potentially could have that impact, but I don't know. I think it would be, if you're putting percentages type thing, it's 5 to 10% rather than oh, these guys are going to go out and give an extra, 75% than they were beforehand.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. So, do want to get to the rest of the weekend series, because obviously it does mean a lot with the Giants and the Dodgers, trying to get closer to won a division title, but more importantly, just officially lock up a playoff spot, because that hasn't officially happened mathematically yet. So we'll get to that in a second. But I do want to get Parker, start with you. Your favorite Kershaw moment over the last 18 years.
Ooh, that's because it's a personal moment and I got to be there to see it. Seeing him celebrate this most recent one, he looked like everybody's dad, kind of just throwing up that trophy and turning around to the teams and hugging Buehler and everything. I think that for me encapsulated everything all in one, all those memories and everything that he had with the Dodgers beforehand. Despite the impact he made on the 2024 year, he had a chance to celebrate because the team loves him, the organization loves him, and the fans love him. And seeing him just have that moment was my favorite for sure.
Which was Greg?
So I think it's got to be. It was opening day versus the Giants, and it totally encapsulated who Kershaw was. Matt, you know better. It was somewhere around 2013. He had a solo home run against the Giants, and they won 1-0, where he did everything. It was just him. He decided that I'm gonna hit this home run on opening day, win the game, because he just shut down the Giants, but he also was the entire offense, and it just fit to who Clayton Kershaw was.
Yeah, Matt. With that game was. I remember watching that and being like, this dude is everything. This team.
He's just the GOAT.
He is. Matt, if you can pick one, what would it be?
Yeah, it's tough. We've discussed this on our shows yesterday. I think for me, similar to Parker, I'll go a personal one that I was there for. It was 2014. The end of that season. At that point, he had obviously he was making his march towards another Cy Young Award, eventual National League MVP. He started at Dodger Stadium against the Giants. Ironically, it was late September, and I think it also ended up being an NL West clincher. He had a crazy start. He made a behind the back stop, it was a comebacker, and he kind of threw his glove and spun his back and made the play. What I take from that the most, though, is he also hit a triple, and the stadium was just going crazy over it. And so that, I think, probably sticks out as my favorite memory. But I mean, look, there's so many that we can obviously choose from. And you think you have the right one, and then you remember there's 8 more that you forgot about.
Yeah. I mean, I still think, the no-hitter right. was a top moment ever. And I will say, I mean, I liked Parker, you mentioning him at the parade, the celebration last year, because I think for a lot of us, watching the Dodgers fail in the postseason, I mean, it's hard enough, but I think watching him specifically go through some of his toughest moments. I mean, I remember, I think it was after the Matt Adams home run, or it was one of those postseason kind of blowups he had where it just, I don't think I'd ever seen him look so dejected, where he just sort of was like at his lowest point and said something to the effect of like, maybe this just isn't meant to be for me. And like that was heartbreaking. And so to see him like celebrate with it just felt like all of that kind of got washed away a little bit. So, that I think was a special moment obviously for him, but I think for all of us who followed his career and followed this team for so long. I got a little bit dusty in here.
Yeah.
All right.
Well said, Marcus. Well said.
Tonight is the business of Kershaw Day for one last time in the regular season at Dodger Stadium. He takes on Robbie Ray in a really, really big game. So, all remembrances and nostalgia aside, Greg, we need Kersh one more time to go out there and just be the guy to keep the line moving again.
We do, and this is when he starts, that it's a situation where you absolutely need him, and they need him to be good. He hasn't really been good his last two starts, so giving up a lot of runs early, just not really finding it. The defense tends to not help Kershaw for whatever reason, but they really need him to go out there and be himself again. And when he got his 3,000 strikeout. Remember that he only had 3 strikeouts because he was so amped up and he was so he could realize the moment of the game, and which is not typically what Kershaw goes through. He typically is good in these big moments. So I just wonder what it's going to be like for him. Is it going to be like that 3,000th game where he's kind of like amped up and realizing the moment, or is it going to be where he just goes out there and says, screw it, this is my last time at Dodger Stadium starting a game, let's just go out and shove? And that's what I'm kind of hoping for.
Yeah, well, also that 3,000 strikeout night, the White Sox were going out of their way to
jeez,
let's just swing at everything. like we're just gonna put the ball in play. We're not taking big swings. Yeah. Like nobody wanted to be the guy. So that was part of it. Yeah, I would imagine you're going to have 50,000 incredibly nervous people. Here's the thing: we don't. Yeah, I know we had Jeff Spiegel on Fridays for a while. I don't know. You know this, Matthew. I don't know that anybody outside of maybe Ellen and the kids gets more nervous for a Clayton Kershaw start than Jeff Spiegel. Are you guys going to just have to like lock him in a room by himself for tonight? Like, how is he going to get through this?
Yeah, we're going to have to figure something out. And we planned a live show tonight after the game. And so hopefully Jeff is, the tears would have dried up by that point. And he's going to be able to host his way through it.
Yeah, it's going to be wild. Obviously, we'll all be watching. It's going to be packed. If, like I said at the start of the show, if you have not gotten tickets yet, Godspeed, because
good luck.
You're going to be, giving up a rent payment or a mortgage payment to get a ticket to tonight's game. And it's tomorrow. Wait, is it tomorrow? That's the 3,000 strikeout bobblehead.
Yeah.
It's tomorrow night.
Are you going to either game, Matt?
Yeah, Matt. Yeah.
I will be there tonight. I was going to be there tomorrow, but Blake and I ended up switching. Blake's a good guy. He's going to the game, still letting me take the bobblehead, so it works out for me.
Good guy, Blake.
I'll be back there on Sunday.
All right.
I prefer to be home because I'm gonna be crying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be really, really emotional. I might prefer to stay here in my own dojo and check it out tonight. So it should be entertaining.
Also, quickly shout out AJ Ellis and Austin Barnes. Just before we tap out, got to give Kershaw's boys some love.
Yeah, absolutely. The guys who held him down for the majority of his career. Hey, look, they're not doing anything, right? Like maybe bring him back for the week and maybe have him back for Sunday. They can be on the field, come hang out.
First pitch or something.
Yeah, it'd be cool. Have Kersh throw out the first pitch to AJ or Barnesy or something like that. That'd be a lot of fun. So we will check it out. We'll be back with you, of course, on Monday to recap not just the final Kershaw day at Chavez Ravine, but the rest of the weekend as well against the Giants. Hopefully, the Dodgers can open up a little bit more space as we get into the final week of the regular season. But appreciate you hanging out with us, Matthew. Enjoy the games over the weekend. Enjoy your Kershaw 3,000 strikeout bobblehead as well. That should be pretty cool for sure. Thanks everybody in the chat for hanging out with us. Thanks to LAX, for Matthew Moreno, for Parker Bell, for Marcus Grant. This has been the Blue Review presented by LAX. Stick around for the Sedano and Cap morning extravaganza here on the ESPN LA YouTube channel. Back with you on Monday, 6:30 a.m. right here. See you then.
See ya.
Thanks, Matt.
See you guys.
Uniquely you. This National Recovery Month, recover your life. Choose a proven addiction treatment option that's right for you at choosechangeca.org.
Sure, I'll admit it. Fantasy football is my jam. Is that still a thing people say? Now your top reasons to visit Morongo.
Bring your A game and watch the big games all season.
Number 2.
Claim your